Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're taking a trip to a place that, frankly, it just messes with your sense of time.
It really does.
We're looking at this massive, complex organism where you can stand on a riverbank and see, colonial Europe on one side.
And then a cyberpunk sci-fi movie on the other.
Exactly. And then you look down at your phone and you're in this digital ecosystem that's so advanced, it makes the rest of the world feel a bit analog. We are talking about Shanghai.
It's the ultimate case study in acceleration. I mean, on the surface, Shanghai checks every single box for a global powerhouse.
It's got the money, the skyline, the
Yeah.
tech.
Right. But if you look closer and if you really dig into the research we've pulled for today, there's this core pension bubbling just underneath that shiny surface.
That's it. The headline from our main source material really stuck with me. Shanghai looks global but feels different now.
Mm-hmm.
It suggests that while the hardware, the buildings, the infrastructure is constantly being upgraded, the software
The culture, the people.
is undergoing a pretty massive rewrite.
Exactly. And our mission today isn't to give you a travel guide. We want to unpack the identity of this city.
Right.
How does a place absorb, 2 centuries of intense foreign influence, reinvent itself as a financial superpower, and now face a youth culture that's actively trying to opt out of the very machine that built it?
That's the story today. From colonial collision to digital dominance and now this new social friction. And I think to understand the now, we really have to understand the why.
You have to.
Because having been there, Shanghai just feels different from Beijing or Guangzhou.
Yeah.
It has a specific swagger.
It does, and that swagger is genetic. It's baked into the city's history. We have to rewind to 1843.
Yeah.
Before that, Shanghai was a reasonably successful trading town, a fishing village, essentially. But it wasn't this. The Treaty of Nanting changed everything.
How so?
It established Shanghai as a treaty port.
And we should probably clarify what a treaty port actually meant back then. It wasn't just, hey, foreign boats can park here. It was a carving up of sovereignty.
Yeah. Precisely. It led to the establishment of concessions. You had the international settlement, dominated by the British and Americans, and then you had the French concession.
And these were like mini states within the city.
That's a perfect way to put it. They had their own police, their own legal systems, and crucially for our discussion, their own architectural and cultural blueprints.
Which explains so much. It's why when you walk through the former French concession today, it feels like you've been dropped into a European neighborhood.
The London plane trees, the Art Deco villas.
It's so distinctively un-Chinese in its origin.
And that visual contrast is most stark at the Bund, that famous waterfront.
The lineup of buildings, yeah.
That's a museum of Western architectural power, neoclassical, Gothic, Baroque. It was the Wall Street of Asia in the 1920s and 30s. But the key insight here isn't just about the pretty buildings.
What is it then?
It's what that environment did to the local culture. It created a concept called Haipai.
Haipai. That's Shanghai style, right?
Yes, literally Shanghai school, but culturally it refers to this unique East meets West fusion. It's the opposite of Jingpai, or Beijing style.
Which is more traditional.
Very traditional, bureaucratic, structured. Haipai is pragmatic, commercial, rebellious, and cosmopolitan.
I love that distinction. So while Beijing was worrying about imperial tradition, Shanghai was just doing business with the world. It's a hustler mentality.
In a nutshell. And you see that fusion most clearly in the Shikumen architecture. We can't talk about Shanghai without explaining Shikumen.
So what are they?
They translate to stone gate. They're row houses that appeared in the late 19th century. Externally, they use Western brick construction, very sturdy, very orderly.
But inside?
Inside, they're arranged like traditional Chinese courtyard homes.
So it's a literal structural hybrid, a physical manifestation of the city's DNA.
It is. And socially, they were dense. You had multiple families in these complexes sharing sinks, sharing courtyards. It created this very specific type of community, gossip-heavy, tight-knit, and loud.
That alleyway life, that's the old soul of Shanghai.
It is. But that soul is becoming harder and harder to find, which is something we'll get to.
Okay, but first, let's fast forward. How does this Haipai spirit manifest today? The source material mentions there are over 200,000 foreign residents in Shanghai now.
Which makes it the most international city in mainland China by a landslide.
And that has to shape the whole sensory experience of the city.
It does. It's not just that English is on the subway signs, it's that the city is culturally porous.
The food scene is always the best indicator of that.
Always.
The article highlights the obvious stuff, Italian trattorias, French bakeries. But
Yeah.
there's one detail I thought was a perfect example of this deep integration. Russian borscht.
Ah, yes. Luo Songtang.
Right. In Shanghai, it's considered local comfort food. It's not foreign anymore.
It's a fascinating story. After the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia, thousands of white Russians fled to Shanghai. They were stateless, often poor, and they brought their cuisine.
And the Shanghainese adapted it.
They did. They used local ingredients, made it sweeter, added soy sauce. They made it their own.
It went from a foreign import to a local classic. That's adaptation right there.
It is. And that openness is why Shanghai feels so buzzy. You have this constant intake of new ideas. But we need to pivot because under the croissants and the borscht, there's a massive engine running this place. We have to talk about the money.
The transition from the Bund to Lujiazui.
Correct. If you stand on the Bund and look across the Huangpu River, you're looking at Lujiazhu. 35 years ago, that was farmland and warehouses.
And today, it's arguably the most futuristic skyline on Earth. It's the visual shorthand for China's economic miracle. The Shanghai Tower, the World Financial Center, they're monuments to ambition.
People call it China's Wall Street. It houses the Shanghai Stock Exchange, the regional headquarters of pretty much every major global bank.
But what's interesting for our deep dive is how that macroeconomic power filters down to the micro level to daily life.
This is where the digital reality really hits you. The sources emphasize that Shanghai operates on a different OS than the West.
We're not just talking about using apps. We're talking about a total integration of life and code.
It's the super app ecosystem, mainly WeChat and Alipay. In Shanghai, physical cash is almost obsolete. You pay for your morning coffee, your subway ride, your electricity bill, your street food.
All with a QR code.
All of it.
I've heard stories of people going months without touching a physical banknote. The efficiency is just staggering. The article mentions how streamlined life feels.
It's designed for speed. The city is a machine optimized for commerce and movement. Even the sustainability efforts mentioned, like the shift to eco-friendly packaging, are rolled out with this systemic efficiency.
The government says, we're doing this, the app updates, and suddenly 25 million people are doing it.
Right. But, and here's the crux of today's discussion, you cannot run a machine at 100% capacity indefinitely without generating heat, or in this case, burnout.
This brings us to the feels different now part of the equation. The source material identifies a huge sociological shift, particularly among the youth. Have you heard the term Naiwan?
Involution. It's a buzzword I've seen popping up a lot.
Yes. Involution describes a process of intense competition that doesn't produce more value. It just increases the internal pressure.
It's like a theater where everyone stands up to see better, but now no one is comfortable and the view is exactly the same. You just work harder to stay in the same place.
And the reaction to that is what the sources call tang ping.
Lying flat. This is critical to understanding modern Shanghai. For decades, the Shanghai story was pure hustle. You migrate there, you work 9 p.m., 6 days a week.
And you buy an apartment. But with real estate prices now rivaling New York or London and the competition just becoming fierce, the youth are saying no thanks.
So lying flat isn't just laziness, it's a form of passive resistance.
Exactly. It's a conscious decision to opt out of the rat race. It means doing the bare minimum at work, not buying the expensive house, not buying the luxury car.
It's a rejection of the consumerism that Lujizui represents.
It's the youth looking at those skyscrapers and realizing they weren't built for them. That is a profound conflict. You have a city built on hypercapitalism, and the people in it deciding to structurally disengage.
It creates a palpable tension. You see the gleaming towers, but at street level you sense this exhaustion. And this identity crisis is compounded by something else the sources flag, the loss of language.
The Shanghainese dialect. This part actually hit me quite hard reading the notes. It's described as losing a special song only this city knew how to sing.
It's a linguistic tragedy happening in real time. Shanghainese is a Wu dialect. It sounds nothing like Mandarin. It's sharper, faster, more melodic. It was the secret code of the city.
But because of the massive influx of people from all over China.
And the government promoting standard Mandarin in schools, the dialect is just vanishing.
So you have kids growing up in Shanghai who can understand their grandparents but can't speak back to them.
Precisely. It smooths out the edges of the city, makes Shanghai more accessible, sure, but less Shanghainese.
And you see the exact same thing happening with the physical environment. We talked about those shikumen houses.
The soul of the city, yeah.
Yeah.
They're being demolished at a rapid rate to make room for high-rises and shopping malls. Yes, you have places like Xinjiang, which is a preserved block of Shikumen.
But that's kind of a Disney-fied version of history, isn't it? It's preservation for tourists, not for residents.
It's a museum piece, not a living community. So put it all together, the dialect is fading, the traditional homes are disappearing, and the work ethic is shifting from hustle to lying flat.
It raises the question, is Shanghai losing itself? It sounds incredibly disorienting. If I'm a listener, maybe a consultant being sent for a 3-month project, that sounds overwhelming.
It is overwhelming. The sensory input alone can lead to serious fatigue. And the sources actually address this directly. How do you navigate a city that's constantly shifting under your feet?
This is where the strategy of anchoring comes in, I guess. The research highlights the specific role of service departments in the Shanghai ecosystem.
Right. It's not just about having a bed. It's about having a sanctuary. If you're in a standard hotel for a month, you always feel like a transient tourist. You're living out of a suitcase.
Which just adds to that feeling of disorientation.
But the source explicitly points to platforms like moveandstay.com as a crucial tool for professionals.
And moveandstay.com fits this context perfectly.
Yeah.
Because they've been operating in this region for over 25 years. They know the landscape.
They get it. They specialize in connecting business travelers and corporate teams to these extended stay solutions apartments and hotels that are meant for living, not just visiting.
So you get the hotel services, security, cleaning.
Which you need, because navigating logistics can be tough. But
Yeah.
you also get a kitchen, a living room, a sense of home.
It allows you to participate in the city on your own terms.
Yeah.
You can engage with it all, but then you have a stable, private base to retreat to.
Exactly. It removes the friction of living so you can focus on doing. In a city of chaos, you need a controlled variable.
That's a great way to put it. You need a calm center. Because once you have that stability, you can actually enjoy the other side of Shanghai. We've talked about the stress, but we can't ignore that it's also designed as a massive playground.
It's the entertainment capital of the country, for sure. And the scale of the entertainment matches the scale of the economy.
I was looking at the sports portfolio. Shanghai is the only city in mainland China to host a Formula One Grand Prix.
The Shanghai International Circuit, that is a massive flex. F1 is the pinnacle of global elite sport.
Hosting it just signals we are part of the global circuit. It brings in the high net worth crowd, the sponsors, the glamour.
It's the city showing off its organizational power.
And on the flip side of the culture spectrum, you have Shanghai Disneyland.
Which is fascinating in its own right. It's not a copy-paste of Florida. They call it authentically Disney, distinctly Chinese.
So they redesigned it.
They did, to cater to local cultural preferences, more seating, different food, different show dynamics.
So even the mouse has to adapt to survive in Shanghai.
Everyone adapts. That's the rule of the city. You also have the arts scene, the West Bund Art and Design Fair, Shanghai Fashion Week. It's become a canvas for creative expression.
So we have this incredible multi-layered picture. The colonial ghosts of the Bund, the hyperspeed finance of Lujiazui, the seamless digital life, the lying flat resistance, and this global playground.
It is a lot to process.
It is.
Yeah.
So let's try to synthesize this. If we go back to our mission unpacking the identity of Shanghai, what's the verdict?
I think the verdict is that Shanghai is a city of dualities. It's simultaneously the most Western city in China and in some ways the most intensely Chinese in its ability to change.
It goes back to that new rhythm we mentioned at the start.
Yes. The old Shanghai, the romanticized version with the kipaos and the jazz bar, that's gone. The factory of the world Shanghai of the 90s is also gone. We're now in the era of Shanghai for right now.
And right now is complicated. It's a place where the youth are questioning the value of hard work, where the dialect is fading, but the innovation is still world-class.
And here's the provocative thought I want to leave with the listener. We usually define a city by its constants. Paris is the Eiffel Tower, Rome is the ruins. But Shanghai challenges that definition.
How so?
If a city changes its language, tears down its iconic homes to build new ones, and completely flips its economic model every 30 years, is it still the same city? It's the ship of Theseus paradox applied to a metropolis.
If you replace every plank in the ship, is it still the same ship?
Exactly. My argument is that Shanghai's identity is the change. It isn't defined by what it preserves, it's defined by what it destroys and builds next.
It's a city that refuses to be nostalgic.
Even as we mourn the things it loses.
That's a powerful, if slightly terrifying, thought. It's not a place for the sentimental.
No, It's a place for the adaptable. Whether you're a local kid deciding to lie flat or an expat using Move and Stay to set up camp for a few months, the requirement is the same. You have to be ready to pivot.
You're never stepping into the same river twice, and you're definitely not stepping into the same Shanghai twice.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, on that note, we are going to wrap up this deep dive. From the treaty port to the super app, Shanghai remains one of the most fascinating experiments on the planet.
Absolutely. Keep your eyes on it, because whatever happens there usually happens to the rest of the world 5 years later.
A scary thought to end on. Thank you for the insights today. And to our listeners, whether you're hustling, lying flat, or just trying to find a good bowl of borscht, thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.